Did you know your lawyer can make you happy? And by happy, I don't mean lawyers are funny, because they can be pretty serious. And they charge you by the hour. So let me tell you how they can improve your happiness. Imagine a 16 years old girl who has a dream to follow in her father's footsteps and become a lawyer, starts 11th grade at a new high school, knowing no one. She is about to enter the classroom when suddenly someone insults the principal and runs away. The principal turns back and takes that poor girl to the office for the insult and also for not covering her hair with a scarf properly. This girl lives in Iran. The principal tells her that they don't need such a student and decides to expel her from school. Long story short, that girl was me. And the problem got resolved by a superhero, my mom. However, I was unhappy with the injustice and did not want to go to that school anymore. I remember my dad came to me and said, "Do you really want to become a lawyer?" I said, "Of course." Then he said, "In order to defend others, you need to first be able to take care of yourself and be resilient." That touched me. I decided to find a purpose, not just to survive, but to prove that I was a worthy student. As my purpose, I decided to beat the record of the top student, which was close to perfect, 19.90 out of 20. I studied insanely. I got 20 in all the subjects and was the top student in that school and even that region. The same principal that previously reprimanded me apologized, gave me a prestigious award, and thanked me for improving her school's ranking. I was happy with the award, and even more so with the justice that I received. That incident helped me to discover what I really wanted to do in life. Help others avoid the experience that I had, injustice. And so I was determined to study law. But in the middle of my career, another unjust challenge, plus workload and stress, caused me to suffer burnout. That broken feeling reminded me of the day in the principal's office, where I had managed to overcome the hardship. I started reading about how not to be fragile in adversity, recover and gain happiness. The anti-fragility concept by Nassim Taleb enlightened me that when you are not just resilient, but anti-fragile, you become stronger under a certain level of pressure. Anti-fragility lifts you to a higher level from where you were before the challenge. Resilience is like a recovery shot, and anti-fragility a booster. I resonated with that. It was me when I decided not just to withstand hard times at school, but to find a purpose, to compete and become a lawyer. However, I remembered even before that, as part of my childhood was during the Iran war, despite all the negative impacts, growing up with heroic stories had turned me and many others in my generation resilient with aspiration in challenging times. But why, with that mindset, did I later become fragile? Because instead of focusing on the process of becoming resilient, and the potential to grow in a challenge, I took a wrong lesson from my school experience to focus on getting perfect results and cultivated a perfectionist mindset, which was then intensified at law school and during my practice. Studying, working, and living as a lawyer in different countries and on different continents, from the Middle East to Europe and North America, all with different legal systems, reminded me that the nature of the legal culture is quite the same. And I wasn't the only perfectionist lawyer, because the law is a highly expected profession and it has a tendency to train lawyers with a strong sense of perfectionism. Perfectionism with some other external factors such as the stressful nature of the work, long hours of work, and lack of support could make lawyers fragile and seriously endanger their well-being, which, as defined by the study conducted by the American Bar Association, is a multidimensional concept that covers not just mental, but other aspects of humans' life, including social, which is our connection with others, occupational, that is our job satisfaction, physical, which is our physical activity and nutrition, intellectual, that covers continuous learning, and spiritual, which is our belief and strong inner being. These together build our well-being. According to the International Bar Association report on well-being, over 1/3 of lawyers surveyed feel that their work negatively affects their well-being, and the consequences have ranged from fatigue to anxiety, depression, and unfortunately even suicide. 31% of lawyers have also considered quitting law and looking for another job. Imagine if about 1/3 of lawyers quit law or feel unhappy. How could they help others access justice, which is the law's main purpose? If this 1/3 of lawyers around the world could become not just resilient, but anti-fragile, what would happen to their personal lives and the justice system as a whole? But how can we become anti-fragile? This was the question I asked myself, and I decided to find the answer based on precedent and what I had done when I was anti-fragile. That was finding a higher purpose to motivate me during hard times and a program for it. But this time, trying not to be perfect. My sense of purpose was, why am I doing what I'm doing? Of course, apart from money, I wanted to feel fulfilled and help others access justice. That wasn't my only purpose. According to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, one of the 17 goals for development until 2030 is to increase access to justice. So indirectly, development was also my purpose. And what is the purpose of development after all? To enhance happiness. So I found a great purpose, which was expanding happiness through justice, and realized that lawyers can facilitate that. After finding a higher purpose, the second step in becoming anti-fragile is to program for that purpose, especially programming the mindset. Of course, there are external actions that can or must be done by the legal profession policymakers on a macro level, such as training self-awareness at law schools, providing support, and changing the culture. Technology, specifically artificial intelligence, is also a great resource that could promote well-being. One of the 5 principles of the OECD recommendation on AI also emphasizes that. But there are internal mindset programming techniques that can be done by any person at any time. And some of these are so basic but powerful that we often forget to do in our day. Have you noticed when you turn on your computer, it takes some time to start processing? And the first thing the computer does is show a beautiful background picture. What if we could follow this in our mind? By giving ourselves some time before starting our workday and waking up with beautiful thoughts, seeing sceneries, and even going into nature. And before turning off the computer, we should close all the files and pages and then turn off our computer. The computer is so clever, if we don't close the files before shutting down, it forces us to quit because it is necessary for proper performance. So why not closing all the files and thoughts in our mind at the end of the day and before going to sleep? If necessary, force to close to enhance our performance the next day and increase our resilience. Out of these 2 golden times, mistake, failure, and pressure are inevitable. And there is no time to quiet the mind during the day. Instead, a powerful phrase can reduce our fragility and switch our mind to a resilient mode. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. And it's perfectly okay not to be perfect. Because the justice system does not need perfect, fragile lawyers who break under pressure. The justice system needs resilient lawyers who can stand up again. And it even needs more anti-fragile lawyers who thrive and improve the operation of the justice system. Every single lawyer's well-being matters because well-fulfilled, happy lawyers increase the efficiency of the justice system, enhance sustainable development, and increase the level of happiness in the world. What I just explained was my experience as a member of the justice system. There are 16 other sustainable development goals, and you may relate to one of them. Education, health, environment, industry, innovation, economy. So you already have a great purpose. Don't try to be perfect and fragile. Be resilient and anti-fragile. You will thrive and ultimately help others become happier. As Rumi, the Persian poet, said beautifully, "Yesterday I was clever and wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself."